Hello friends, welcome back. We have come a long way through this journey of innovations in marketing, and definitely we would be addressing the aspects of marketing of innovations. And now we are going ahead with a perspective related to innovation in pricing and factors affecting pricing innovations. A very important subject. I would be going for different sides of pricing. I would not say types or categories, because types and categories and those kind of things and we have already discussed these kind of things in several kinds of subjects focused on pricing as well as marketing. And my subject on product and brand management, I have discussed pricing extensively. But here we are looking at pricing with the perspective of an innovation in itself and innovation within pricing. How to innovate within pricing, how pricing can act as an innovation to attract the customers. You see, we have been building up the case around what to be termed as innovations in marketing. We have reached to a situation where micro segmentation, targeting, all those things have been discussed. Product has been discussed quite extensively as of now, and then we are wondering on how to look at it. And simultaneously what we are trying to do here is that whenever we are discussing a particular aspect of, let us say, one of the elements of marketing mix, let us say we discussed product, then we are trying to discuss the concentricity of product vis-a-vis other elements of marketing mix, that is pricing, promotion and distribution, definitely that is place. And you see, we are focusing upon how to look at an instigative point to innovate upon. For example, decide with product, then definitely there is an instigation towards price, place, promotion. But now we are talking about pricing, so how this can lead to the changes or a stimulating effect within other P's as well. And that is a very interesting thing, because you see, what we have tried to understand up till now is that innovation in marketing can be thought of in terms of value chain marketing as well, and we are focusing upon the complete range within which we have to act upon in terms of marketing. We have addressed definitional framework also, and I am reiterating these aspects to give you a sort of a recap. But let us talk about pricing at this moment. And you see, how to look at pricing with respect to innovation. So, when we say that we have to think in terms of pricing a product, we can look at pricing with an innovative perspective, an innovative way of putting a number, and mark these words, a number, so as to, or that number which may generate value for all the members of the value chain, for all who are associated within the value chain. It makes sense, you see, because that price is going to fetch the revenue. And you see, while we are talking of this aspect, we are trying to go from that side to this side, because that unit price and the number of units is going to be the money which goes backwards into the value chain. It makes a lot of sense when we are talking about this thing. But then we are wondering about the value chain, but especially that innovative way of putting a value should appeal to the customer, because customer would be paying that kind of money which would cumulatively flow back into the value chain. That is how we should be looking at it. So, how to be innovative in putting up this number, that is the context of this particular discussion. And definitely you would wonder that should we be mentioning cost at this moment? Yes, cost is definitely an element. So, here comes, and as I said, I would not be going to the conventional discussion around pricing, but cost has to be considered. So, if we are considering cost here, then and if we are trying to be innovative and we are not trying to fetch those kind of margins which would definitely go into an analysis of recovering the fixed cost and the variable cost and so on, and somehow our forecasting says that if we go by this particular kind of a price, we will not be able to fetch in the kind of a revenue which breaks even somewhere and so on. So, these kind of questions may come to us, but you see, here is wherein innovation of product or innovation within product and innovation within pricing can come all together when we are talking of as far as innovation in marketing goes. Now, you see, there are wonderful examples. For example, Tata Indica was launched, and we all know that there was a particular kind of a price which was decided as far as the whole scenario goes, that this should be the price markup in terms of this vehicle, and the organization actually crafted everything within their marketing sphere, including the manufacturing of the product, including fitting up as far as the whole machinery and the plant and the system goes, bringing in distribution setups and advertising, everything around that P. I am not saying that product was not dominant in terms of as far as that particular innovation goes. Tata Indica is a historical kind of a thing as far as Indian automotive sector goes, because that started a new era when India started manufacturing almost completely indigenous car. It was not that before we were not doing that, but completely indigenous car as far as the whole story goes. But there was a price structure which was before decided beforehand, and if I am not wrong, that was somewhere in 1996, 97, and this price perspective of 3 lakh rupees per car came into being, and whole story revolves around that. A very interesting thing. There were several ups and downs which the organization faced within first year, because it was an indigenously manufactured car. There were distribution hiccups in the initial phases, there were maintenance hiccups in the initial phases, and then there were several kinds of service backups which had to be given, some parts backup had to be given, and so on. So complete value chain had to be rejuvenated, and you see, that is what I am referring to. Complete value chain was designed with reference to this whole price structure which was in their mind. At the end of the day, we all know that it was and it has been a wonderful journey from Tata Motors. It did very well, and it wrote a different kind of a history wherein it motivated other manufacturers to come up with such kind of structures. And I remember Scorpio also wrote such kind of a new vision in terms of as far as not only innovating upon the product, innovating upon the complete value chain, writing a complete new history around a particular kind of a product in terms of SUV, brought in a product to Indian market which was different, and then definitely they had a price perspective in mind. They went for that kind of a price bracket which they have been maintaining in terms of different products as such also, real value kind of a perspective around the product. So, this is what an innovative approach within pricing structure comes in. If you would remember, in electronics, Akai television, when it was launched in India, it again went for this price element concentration. I remember that televisions, color televisions especially, were quite reasonably priced on the higher side, I would say. That was reasonable in terms of what kind of a market growth was being foreseen, and intelligent marketers were looking at that. But Akai television came in, and I am not able to say that it was exactly 50% of the market price of other televisions which they offered, but they offered much less a much less a price as compared to the market price of other color televisions available. And again, a wonderful thing, they augmented the complete production process. They augmented the complete import process which they were involved in terms of bringing in products which were relevant for these products to be assembled or manufactured. Then they created a new distribution system around that, and the whole story went along this price concentration. I remember they offered a color television below 10,000 rupees when others were to the range of somewhere 15, 16, 18, 20,000, much a higher price as compared to Akai television. And that went well with them. Sales picked up. Not only sales picked up, it wrote a new history in terms of the augmentation of the pricing process of the complete color television industry. Many manufacturers after that came in, and they went for a price concentration, price based concentration in terms of value chain goes. Videocon came in, and they wrote a different kind of a history around as far as the whole scenario goes. So, this important aspect which we are discussing around pricing, these examples, they justify that. Ford Motors is historical in terms of being a global organization, and their history in terms of what kind of a pricing they initiated when they went for completely black colored vehicle, and we all know that story. It is always there. It's much talked about kind of an example in marketing literature as well as marketing classes. So, these kind of wonderful examples, and then I would be talking about Ryanair and EasyJet. These organizations in terms of Southwest Airlines, these organizations in terms of airlines wrote a different kind of chapters in terms of as far as price focused marketing innovation or innovations in marketing goes. Deccan Airways changed the way low cost air travel looked at in India. In India, air travel was specific to very specific kinds of customers before Deccan Airways came in, and they went for carrying maximum number of people to maximum number of destinations, and they quoted a particular kind of a price. I remember from Delhi to Lucknow or other destinations as well, those days they started offering a price bracket of 500 rupees only, which was unheard of, which was to the tune of let us say if not AC 2 tier, but AC first class in rail travel, and that came towards a different kind, that brought this industry towards a different kind of a focus, wherein people started understanding that air travel can be cost effective, and other organizations also started looking at it. So, it is a wonderful kind of a thing which when we look at this concentration factor as far as the whole scenario goes. I would be going for economic and psychological aspects of pricing while talking about innovations in pricing in due course of our discussion. But just to break that discussion beforehand and before I come to other aspects of as far as factors associated with pricing innovation, try I would put up an example in front of you wherein Coke went for a discussion, or the Coke went for a pricing around if it is hot, then they started charging more for as far as their soft drink goes. Now that is interesting, although it did not much work for them, but these examples, these kind of examples, authors, they have been always talking about psychology aspect of customers, consumer behavior and customer psychology, and lessons from Daniel Kahneman come to us when they say that okay, instead of saying that they would go for higher pricing in terms of hot weather, they could have said that they would go for lower prices in terms of cold weather, or if the soft drink is not required so chilled. So that kind of a lesson is also there, and we will be talking about these kind of things in due course. But before I go ahead, let me take you to as far as some factors which can be listed as far as innovation in pricing goes. So let us look at some factors. Let us prioritize in terms of which end of business should be the priority. So you see, if you are talking of complete value chain, which end is the priority? Definitely customer is the prime most as far as the whole scenario goes. But when we are talking of customer, then are we talking of customer retention, or we are talking of acquisition, or let us say both, because we have a huge market to capture or to grow with, and we want to retain our customers whomsoever we are maintaining, because we do not want competition to come in as far as the whole situation goes. And there you always remember substitution and alternative kind of a thing. We have to maintain a particular kind of a speed also, and we have to keep on acquiring newer customers also. So what is the point of concentration? Any of these factors, or 1, 2 or 3, or then are we thinking in terms of not letting value chain, or partners of value chain, or members of value chain, or elements of value chain to others? So value chain retention. For example, we are into agri products kind of a business, so our suppliers, we want to retain them. Those suppliers are farmers, agriculturists. We want them to keep on growing for us. If we would not go to them regularly to purchase the products from them, and we do not keep on marketing those products effectively in the market, those farmers would start growing for someone else or something else, or they might shift. If they do not shift the produce, they might shift the buyer. So that is where value chain retention comes in. So is it the priority? Customer retention, customer acquisition many a times is dependent upon value chain retention, or if you are talking of value chain, not complete value chain, then let us say, as I put up, I am putting up an example in terms of the suppliers, the producers. So which part, or along with retention, or let us say if not retention, then are we focusing upon growth of the complete value chain? That means we are trying to develop the complete value chain by introducing newer partners all through, or going for backward integration in terms of including ourselves into that part of being our own suppliers. Are we focusing upon that? Then definitely pricing has to play a very important role in the whole scenario. Then the most important question which comes in is that which industry we belong to. It is very interesting, because if we are a production oriented industry, then we have to look at it differently. If along with production or apart from production, we are a technology intensive industry, then it has a different element to it, wherein continuous upgradation in terms of technology, technology acquisition, all those things would matter a lot, because it is going to drive the whole scenario goes, and it is going to drive the differentiation which we are looking for. It is going to drive the innovation which we are looking for, not only in terms of the product, but also in terms of distribution as such also. Then do we have flexible systems? We belong to an industry wherein flexibility of whole of the process is, it matters. For example, if we belong to cement industry, then definitely I do not think that there would be a lot of flexibility in terms of, because we our raw material and then process and those kind of things are quite structured. And for example, if we belong to steel industry, I was talking to one of the researchers the other way, and the phosphorus content in the iron ore matters a lot in terms of steel processing. My genuine question to the researcher was that can we generate products which can be manufactured with high phosphorus content in steel, because as it was mentioned that high phosphorus content may bring in brittleness to the steel. So, can we produce brittle products? I am not sure, I am not a technologist that way, it is a loud thinking. So, you see, if we are into, if we do not have that kind of flexibility, so that would definitely, be hampering in terms of as far as the whole scenario goes. Then, again, are we focusing upon only the profits, because industry is moving very fast and profit matters, and it is the actual quantum which would keep us at bay as compared to as far as the whole competition goes, or profitability may also be included in terms of as far as the whole scenario goes. If profitability is there, then we can curtail as far as the quantum of production goes, and ratios can be maintained, and those kind of things are can be thought of. You see, these are largely the factors which we are focusing upon at this particular point of time. So, cost of sales also matters. If it is a high cost of sales kind of an industry or a product, then definitely we have to focus upon the pricing with this kind of a factor as well, and whatever innovation we would go for, we have to keep this in mind. And I am not saying that these are sequential, I am not saying that one of these would only exist, I would go to the length of saying that all of these might be found in terms of the industry which we belong to, but then we have to focus upon the factors which are more dominant, and we have to prioritize our innovation in pricing in this regard with this kind of a perspective. It's getting more interesting in terms of, for example, cost of sales, cost of marketing, these kind of questions are there, and then life cycle assessment of as far as whole of the product life cycle goes, because that is going to decide on that if we have a product which can have a very long life cycle if we persist with as far as innovation within marketing goes. So, then we can even think in terms of fixing up the price more or less for n number of years, not focusing too much of a gain in terms of as far as quantum of price goes. For example, newspaper industry, I remember since 1990s up till this time, almost 33-34 years, late 88, 89 to up till this stage, the price change between of newspapers, the cover price change is between somewhere 1.5 rupees in Indian rupees to 6.5 or 7 rupees at max. But then newspaper has become heavy. So, if you will go by the proportionate pricing in terms of number of pages, then might be a very little change in terms of as far as those things go. Then if you will look at, you add value in terms of as far as the news content goes, then the price change is negligible as of now. That is a very interesting thing which we have found about in these kind of industries when we are focusing upon as far as the whole scenario goes. So, are we maintaining that? Yes, we are. So, and one of the most important elements is differentiation. How do we care about as far as product differentiation goes? And if we are talking of product differentiation, then we have to always keep up with an understanding of red ocean and blue ocean perspective, wherein if we are in a red ocean kind of a situation, that is highly competitive space, then definitely creating differentiation in product requires cost element, and then the story changes towards as far as the price perspective goes. And if we are into a blue ocean perspective, blue ocean stage, wherein we are bypassing the competition and going for non-users and those kind of things, for these kind of discussions you can always refer to my product and brand management, and from there, or you can just Google those kind of things. So, thanks to Michael Porter and W. Chan Kim, who have contributed into red ocean strategy and blue ocean strategy respectively. So, but then if you are in blue ocean space, then differentiation can be accompanied with low cost as well, because we are innovative in terms of whole of this sphere goes. Now, do we have customer loyalty? it is a very important thing for, if very important factor to be considered too. If we have loyal customers, then definitely we can go for a higher markup capitalizing upon that loyalty, or we can give them the advantage of being loyal to us. Many automotive companies, they have started doing that. Customer loyalty advantage is being offered by almost anyone and everyone as far as the whole market space goes. It is a very interesting kind of a thing again. Then what kind of a brand equity analysis we do in terms of our brand value goes? What kind of equity are we enjoying? If we are enjoying a high level of equity in terms of as far as our product goes, then definitely price may correspond with that kind of an equity. Higher side or lower side, that would be our choice depending upon the kinds of customers we cater to and the kind of margins we wish for. The point here is that we are looking at the complete value chain with reference to these factors one by one, sequentially or all together. But the most important point which I want you to remember is the potential of association in terms of our association throughout the value chain goes. So, potential of association. What is the strength in future we may gain in terms of the association we would enjoy throughout our value chain? And that potential of association can definitely be judged with 2-3 aspects, wherein how strongly we are associated with our suppliers, how difficult it is for our competitors to come in, Porter's 5 forces, yes, I am referring to that, and how strongly we are associated with the customers, and what is the organizational commitment we are enjoying in terms of as far as the whole scenario goes. Many times I talked about Jaipur Foot. Many times these kind of organizations, they attract me a lot in terms of as far as the way they have maintained their pricing, as well as product innovation, as well as the whole value chain innovation, and keeping along that pace of their objective of serving the society at large, which is the most important element of marketing definition in contemporary scenario. If we are focused upon that, then definitely our vision is clear, and within that we may have lot to think in terms of as far as how to innovate upon the complete kind of a structure goes. I would be coming back to you in next session about several elements associated with as far as innovation in pricing goes, and I would be starting from a given definition which I found in a good book for you to start thinking in terms of how innovation in pricing can be driven all through. And then I would be building up a case around economics associated with as far as innovation in pricing goes, and psychology associated with as far as innovation in pricing goes, and that definitely we are referring to a strong text written by K. Kashani and several authors, and that is how we would be building upon the case in terms of as far as the whole scenario goes. So, wait till then, try and understand these factors in association with innovation in pricing, and try and focus upon that how this magic number is created, and how innovative we can be in creating this magic number, and that is the most important part, how innovative we can be. I will be catching up with you in my next session. Till then, goodbye.